How Ram defeated the demon king Ravan, Part 1, King Dashrat's special heir. Long, long ago there lived in the northern kingdom of Kosala a warrior king named Dashrat. His capital city was Ayodhya, and what a city it was! It sprawled on the banks of the Sairu River, with elegant 7-story mansions rising gracefully from formal parks and gardens. Its granaries were filled with wheat, its treasure houses with gold. Young people here dressed with such style and imagination, buying their woolens and colourful silks from caravans that crisscrossed the globe. Elephants with tinkling bells tied to their feet, and warriors brave as lions defended the city. There was no war for the elephants and warriors to go to, though, for the kingdom of Kosala was at peace. King Dashrat, living in a snow-white palace on top of a hill, ruled honourably, wisely, and with strength. His people were happy and contented, and his enemies were too afraid to challenge him. The only man in Kosala who was not entirely satisfied with his life was King Dashrat himself. He was very, very old, and had no heirs to inherit his throne. He had 3 wives, but no child to carry on his good work for the people of his kingdom. Dashrat begged his priest for help. "There must be a way," he cried. "Let us offer prayers in front of a big sacrificial fire. Perhaps the gods will hear us." A huge fire was made and butter dribbled into it. "Oh, gods, hear us," prayed the priest, and the gods listened. Gods have their own reasons for the things they do. Their reason this time was Ravan. Ravan was a demon king, dark as a thundercloud and as wicked as Dashrat was good. If Dashrat ruled over the kingdom of Kosala in the north, Ravan ruled the island of demons far away in the south. If Dashrat's capital city was almost as fair as heaven, Ravan's was designed by the architect of heaven. If Dashrat had 1 head and 2 arms like most men, Ravan had 10 heads and 20 arms. Ravan could smile a 10-mouthed smile, twirl 10 moustaches at once, and let loose a rainful of arrows from 10 golden bows. But that is not what troubled the gods. In a moment of weakness, the gods had granted Ravan a wish. Ravan, shrewd as he was, had asked the gods to arrange it so that no god in heaven and no creature from the underworld would be able to kill him. Ravan wanted to be immortal, that means to live forever. The gods had unfortunately agreed. The result was that Ravan and his fellow demons flew around heaven and earth, drinking blood, eating people and changing shape at will to get at their victims. Ravan and his demons had become so powerful and so wicked that they could at times even stop the smoke given off by holy fires from reaching heaven, and this angered the gods. While King Dashrat was preparing his sacrifice on earth, a god in heaven was saying, "There has got to be a way to stop Ravan. If we cannot stop him, who can? We are supposed to be gods." Another god said, "Whoever granted that wish to Ravan was so stupid, so very stupid." A third god said, "Let us not fight amongst ourselves, but plan ahead. The wish we granted actually stops gods from heaven and the underworld from destroying Ravan. It says nothing about men and animals who live on earth." "That is true," said a fourth god, "but Ravan is so strong that it would take a very special man. I could assist this very special man by being born again in his body," said a fifth god, who happened to be Vishnu, the preserver of life. Just then, smoke from King Dashrat's sacrifice managed somehow to reach heaven. The gods had found a way. They would give King Dashrat an heir, a very special heir. And an heir, remember, is somebody who is like the son, usually in those days, and in these stories of myths. The heir is somebody who will take over from the father when they die. On earth, a black giant dressed in crimson, that's very deep red, appeared in King Dashrat's fire. His dark, silky beard fluttered in the breeze like a flag in the wind. Handing Dashrat a bowl filled with rice pudding, he intoned, "Come, divide this amongst your wives. They will give you the sons you desire." Then the giant disappeared in the smoke. Dashrat took the bowl to his first wife, Koshalaya, and gave her half of the pudding. Out of what was left, he gave half to his second wife, Sumitra. Out of what remained, he gave half to his third wife, Kaikeya. A little bit of pudding was still in the bowl. He gave that to Sumitra, saying, "Here, finish it up." Kushalia, Julie gave birth to a son, Ram. Kai, I can't remember how I pronounced that before, was next. That was the third wife, with a son named Bharat. Sumitra was last. She had been given 2 helpings, so she had twin boys, Lakshman and Shatrughan. As the boys grew older, Lakshman grew very attached to his eldest brother Ram, and Shatrughan to his brother Bharat. All the brothers, however, were very close and loved each other. It was Ram, of course, strong, handsome Ram, who was heir to the throne, and in whose body there lived very quietly the soul of a god. When the boys were 16, a wise sage and family adviser said, "It is time Ram and Lakshman were taught how to fight demons. I will take the boys away and begin their instruction." Ram was taught sacred verses that would increase his strength 100 times, and he was shown how to use magical weapons that came straight from heaven. Both boys perfected their archery and their use of deadly flying discs. On their way home, following this instruction, the threesome passed through the lands of the good King Janak. A wedding party was being held in the capital city, and it was a very special wedding party. Janak's daughter Sita was about to pick a husband from all the men who were assembled. Just one condition had been attached to the men's chances of happiness. They had, first of all, to bend and string a very heavy bow. Almost every prince, king and nobleman present wanted to marry Sita because she was quite simply the most beautiful girl on earth. Her skin was soft and golden, her eyes large and shining, her lips red and full, and her lustrous black hair so long that it reached her ankles. As Sita walked, the belts draped around her hips jingled gently, and her airy silver scarves swayed in the breeze. When Sita smiled, she was as dazzling as the sun. Sita was quite irresistible. One man after another tried to lift the bow, but it could not be lifted, let alone bent and strung. Strung means like have the arrows put on it. It weighed as much as a mountain. King Janak despaired of ever marrying off his daughter when Ram appeared on the scene. Sita was watching from a window and fell instantly in love with this handsome prince. She prayed, "Please let him bend the bow." Ram looked down at the bow and said to himself, "No human can lift this. It is God Shiva's bow from heaven." But when he bent down, he found that he could lift it with ease. He pressed one end under his foot and bent the other enough to string it. He bent it so much that, much to the amazement of all who were present, the bow snapped in two. Ram and Sita were wed in front of a fire. Sita's father showered the bride and groom with gifts of elephants, horses, dogs, and baskets filled with gold beads and turquoise to take back to Ayodhya. The young couple settled down to live together in a shining palace of black stone. Wherever they walked, their love for each other made flowers bloom and leaves brighten in colour. But trouble was brewing in King Dashrat's snow-white palace on top of the hill, and the next video will tell us about Ram being banished.